Today we're going to talk about a really special share, and it's called the Nvidia of Belgium.
Yeah.
And it's a really special share because it's almost the most expensive share in the world.
Yes.
It's number two. Berkshire Hathaway is the most expensive one, but this one is the number two most expensive share in the world. It's an old company. They exist in 1932. And they are only since March of this year in the top of the Belgium index, the Bel 20. Finally, they are in the Bel 20.
And what company are we talking about, Casper?
We talk about Lotus Bakeries.
Yes.
Did you ever heard of it? And this is not a coincidence because we have in our office, we have Lotus cookies.
For our clients.
Lotus, not for us. This is, maybe you have seen this in the past. They also make other products. We're going to talk about it. This Tuesday, for the first time, I think, it reaches the 10,000 euros. And they never split.
Unit, per share.
Yeah, per share. They never did a split. And it's not quite clear why they don't want to split. It's a family company, and the CEO of this moment is the grandson of the founder.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, but there is so much value in the share, and what's created during the years. If we start splitting it, the value goes out. And if you and if you look at the historical, and now I think this is a discussion, especially in Belgium, for years. But if you now look at it, I think they are right because they reach it to 10,000 euros.
Yeah, but the problem is also if people start selling it for when there's a sales boom coming and your price is going down. You might also find new buyers. So you might get into like a snowball going down.
Yeah. Also, and why it was not in the Bel 20? Because to be accepted in the Bel 20, it's about market cap, but also 35% as a minimum needs to have a turnover during a year. And because of it is such an expensive share, there's not a lot of volume in. So that's why they were never accepted in the Bel 20. If you look at the performance, and it's also, and there are also people that say, okay, but now they are really high, and you will explain later if it's relatively high or not. In absolute sense, it is high. And now some people, okay, now it's because the share price for the last 5 years is almost like a straight line.
Pyramid.
And now it reaches the top, and now it's incorporated in the Bel 20. So if it was in the Bel 20 before, then the index of the Belgian index had performed much better.
Yeah. For the country, it would have been better. For the index, it would have been better. Yeah.
Lotus Bakeries. They are active in 70 countries, and they reached in 2023 revenues of 1 billion. And they have 3,000 employees, and the name Biscoff was is a combination from almost 100 years ago from biscuit and coffee. And they have the strategy to say, okay, we want to have that the clients that the first time they experience our product, that must outside of their house. They work a lot with airline companies. So if you flew in the past, then you probably have had one of those cookies.
Yeah.
And I think it was Delta Airline, they always had them, and they changed in 2020 to what's the other, Oreos, and there were so many complaints, so they said after a couple of months we take the Lotus Biscoffs back in our planes. Okay, because before I give the word to you about the fundamental analysis.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
You know it now because we did this vlog before in Dutch.
Yeah,
and
I also read about it.
Yeah, and if you want to, please subscribe.
Yes.
If you subscribe, then you get always our vlog automatically push, so you know when there is new data. And you can also give us a thumb already. Then I don't have to say it at the end. Every minute around the world, there are 17,000 of those cookies eaten. That are figures, no?
You are eating about 10 a day, so that's going quick. But they must produce a huge amount of cookies.
9 billion of cookies per year.
Wow.
And they are the number 5.
I hope they have machines to make the cookie though.
Oh, it's almost everything is automated within this company, Martin.
It must be, yeah.
Yeah. And 3 years ago, they were number 7, and their goal is to be number 3. And the Oreo, what I just talked about, that's the number. It's the most sold cookie in the world. 60 billion Oreo cookies are sold every year. It's enormous.
Tremendous, yeah.
Yeah, and they're from Mondelez. We talked about cacao 2 months ago, and we also talked about Mondelez, so you can watch it back. And there's still a way to go, because 50% of all the sales are only in 4 countries, and they're now more focusing on the Chinese companies, of Asian countries, and they are going to build a factory in Thailand, and that will be ready in 2026.
Yeah.
Amazing company.
It is, yeah, and I think.
Or not?
Yeah, no, definitely, and yeah, like you said, it's a special product that I think everybody knows. You see also much more now in it being used in McFlurries, for instance, or in donuts. Typical brands, they use them as crumble. So no, they're really trying to be known under the wide public. Looking at it from a fundamentals perspective, it's an expensive stock at a price of 10,000 euros, which of course is a big barrier for somebody to step in, because you want to have a diversified portfolio of 100,000 euros. Yeah, 10% in one cookie firm might not be some ideal allocation, but also from looking at the price earnings, which is I think still a very valid, because everybody talks about it. It's how many earnings related to the price you're making. It's 63 times the earnings, so it's an expensive stock. You have to basically be in it for 63 years to earn back your investment, and that's in general not the best thing. If you look at what you said already, 1 billion of turnover, 280 million per quarter, so that's a substantial turnover. There must be a lot of cookies made for that to get that done. For the rest, it's not an exciting balance sheet. Also, the history, you might think, why you talk about it? Well, we think it's mention worth to talk about the second most expensive stock in the world, because it is interesting to talk about.
But it's also not an exciting cookie. It's a nice cookie.
It's a nice cookie, yes.
But it's always the same.
It's always the same. Yeah, and I think it's for that. Like I know it from when I was a kid.
Yeah, and they say it's unique because of the structure and because of the taste. But I think it's
speculation. The speculoos.
Yeah, speculoos.
Yeah, but maybe that's also from them. But what I'm trying to say, so profits are more or less the same. Debt is more or less the same. It's a very simple, straightforward company. Simple company, of course, because there's a big marketing machine behind it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the 5th most eaten cookie in the world. Looking at the future, the outlook says that they expect to have 200 euros earnings per share. So also not a huge increase in earnings towards the future. Net income is solid.
And then it's still 50 trading at
50, yeah. So also there,
price
yeah.
of 50.
And then if you also look at who are the owners of this company, and mainly larger institutional investors. Think about Vanguard Group, think about BlackRock, think about Norges Bank, Columbia Threadneedle, and AXA BNP Paribas. They have the most amount of the shares, almost, what is it here? I think about 11% of the shares are owned by these larger institutionals. So all in all,
dividend?
Dividend is very low. It's less than 1%.
Yeah.
So also for dividend investors, then you might wonder, why would you buy it?
Yeah, exactly.
But you might also ask yourself, if you own them, why would you sell it? Because it's an interesting company, I think.
Not a lot of people hold it. Not a lot of private investors hold it.
You see in the US, with Amazon and Tesla and all those companies, they did a lot of splits to get the stock more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different approach, different philosophy.
I think it's an expensive company in absolute sense and relatively.
In relative sense, yeah.
But it's a beautiful company,
yeah, and
a really nice product.
If you like this content, like Casper said before, give us your thumb, and we'll see you next week.